Hello, everybody. It is D to the J with the roll away, and we are here again for another exciting episode of My CP Does Not Define Me. I'm your host, D to the J with the roll away. As I said earlier, welcome to show 114. I can't believe it. We've surpassed 113, and the magic number next is 114. And I told y'all this was going to be a good one when the flyer came out. There have been a lot of questions about this, and I've been actually promoting this since early Sunday night. I actually started promoting it. I meant to get the flyer out a little bit before that, but unfortunately, things stopped that. The guest that I have today is, well, she's a rather long title, but it's Dr. Rachel Levy. She is the CSM, which is I want to say that it's not customer service manager. It's I want to say, I think she said customer specialist.
Customer success.
Yeah, customer success manager of Voice It. Sorry. And the two apps we're going to talk about today are Voice It, and it's an awesome thing that's going to help a lot of people. And when she introduced this, I was amazed at the technology of it. But let me introduce Dr. Levy to the show and just say welcome. Thank you for being here. If you would, for our viewers that are just coming in, please tell us a little bit about yourself, what it is that you do. You're also a speech language pathologist, if that's correct,
Yes.
with that. So if you would just explain a little bit about yourself and what you want to share, and we'll get on with the show a little bit.
All right. I'm so stoked to be here, DJ. First of all, I'm just so excited to be here with you. And I'm so honored because this is just an amazing thing that you do.
Thank you.
To, get the word out about who you are as a person, and that cerebral palsy does not define you, and you are a person beyond that. And I'm sure many others can relate. So that's why it's such a popular show. So I'm just so excited to be here because it's really just an honor. So who I am a speech language pathologist. I am also the customer success manager at Voice It, the program that we're going to explain and talk about today. And Voice It has basically come in to redefine how voice recognition technology works, especially for people with speech disabilities. And Voice It is breaking through with this new technology that will allow people with non-standard speech, so people with speech impairments, to access technology with their voice, to be able to use their voice to speak and communicate with others, and have their voice be transcribed essentially on a computer or on a device, and have their words be written in typed on a screen so that others can understand them, as well as other smart home assistants. If there are any impairments, either physical or tactile impairments, they can utilize our technology to access smart assistants in their home.
So let's just talk a little bit about the voice itself. Now, with some of the problems with speech, is it the vocal cords that cannot form the sound? Is it the tongue being able to use the muscle properly? A combination of that? What causes some of the impairments that make it more difficult for people to understand the speech, and also for the person that is considered nonverbal or that doesn't speak a lot? What makes it more difficult for them with that?
That's a great question, DJ. So essentially, there's a whole process that goes into what makes a person have speech. There's voice from the level of the vocal folds, and there's also articulation, which is what's happening in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's articulation is how your tongue hits the certain parts of your mouth to make sounds. And then there's also phonation, how the sound comes out of your vocal folds and then gets shaped in your mouth and in your nose to create sound that's then shaped by the articulators, your teeth, your tongue, your throat. and lips. So there have been many different factors that impact speech. So we're not going to go into that today, but
Right.
essentially, people with speech impairments can be affected by various different disorders, such as cerebral palsy, ALS, Down syndrome, stroke,
Spina
bifida, MS, and the list goes on and on, really. But essentially, we're here to help those individuals. And I wanted to just point out, because you did say the word nonverbal, and I wanted to just point out about the difference between nonverbal and verbal. So there are people who are verbal, right? But it's just so hard to understand them, right? And so they're still verbal. It's just that unfamiliar listeners have such a hard time listening to them that they wind up using typical AAC devices, assistive technology devices like type 2 speech devices. And those are really amazing and fabulous at helping people communicate. Right. But it's when people want to use their actual voice and others don't understand them, it becomes frustrating because there's really nothing out there that's taking care of that. There's nothing out there besides for Voice It to help them do that. And that's what we're here for.
Okay. So a couple of comments that have come in. Hey, Tony, how are you? Charles, how are you? Thank you for being here. Cindy, Flint, glad to have you, buddy. Thank you for coming in. Charles is one of my longtime viewers, and I know he has some issues with speech, and I'm glad he's here. For a long time, I've had issues with this. Most of us whom have spastic CP, talking about just some of the impairments there. I guess my next question, and before we've got a really nice presentation that Dr. Levy's gonna walk us through today, no pun intended, on that one. But see what I did there. I'll be here all week. Not really just today, but how did this come about? I mean, because I know you're kind of on the get it out there side. Did someone sit down and go, you know what? I got to figure this thing out because we got to come up with something to where people can go, I want to use Alexa. I want to use Siri. I want to use my TV. I want to unlock my door. What?
Yeah. It's such a great question. So let me just tell you, like, in short, the founding story of our company.
Okay.
Danny Weisberg, the CEO of Voice It, a couple of years back, around 10 years ago, his grandmother unfortunately had a stroke. And after she had a stroke, she tried to communicate with her loved ones and friends, and no one understood her. The only one who had understood her was the nurse. And Danny, who has a background in technology and coding, and said to himself, well, if the nurse could understand her and people like her, then we can teach technology and artificial intelligence to understand people like her. And that's where the idea was born, because it was so painful to him to not be able to understand his own grandmother, and so painful to her that she couldn't communicate with her loved ones or friends, that he decided to make this program, Voice It, to help people like her to communicate with their voice.
What a awesome story. Just to kind of dive into this a little bit, you've heard me say on the show, if you want something bad enough, you have to dream it. We've talked about things where people say, that'll never happen to me. No one always or nevers. And I've said that so many times throughout the 114 episodes that I've done with My CP Does Not Define Me, going into the Sports Minion radio show before this. This is an example of making dreams come true, because when you want something, the idea starts right here. And these are the previews of the coming attractions of your life, okay? And nobody can take those away from you. So now to go into this, where Danny comes up and says, okay, if the nurse can understand her, then why don't we make technology be able to do it too, so that everybody else? And this proves that if you listen and if you slow down and you say, okay, there is a problem here, but it's doable. You don't just write it off and go, well, Grandma can't speak. That's it. No more. We're done. And so many people are so quick to, you can't, but it takes a very special person to sit down and go, you know what? We're going to figure this out. This is a great question, and we're going to get into this, Tony, just a little bit. Could we use Voice It to integrate remote control functions on a wheelchair to control the chair by voice? I'm pretty sure the answer to that is yes, because it is a technological thing that you're telling the chair what to do. Now, I don't know if the chair, as long as it's Bluetooth compatible and can use Alexa or an app that can use that.
Yeah, so the answer to that is if your wheelchair can connect to Alexa, if Alexa can control your wheelchair, then Voice It can control your wheelchair through voice.
Okay.
So Voice It integrates with Alexa. So anything that Alexa can control, any smart device that Alexa can control, such as your lock, your lights, your TV, your radio, Echo Dot, Voice It can control through voice. So
are there other, besides Alexa, are there other things that Voice It can connect with?
Currently, Alexa can only connect with Alexa along with any other device that can be controlled by voice. So if your wheelchair can be controlled by voice, then Voice It can control it. Anything that can be controlled by voice, Voice It can control it.
Here they come. I think this is great. As I said, this is where this is going to hit so well. So what we're going to do right now is Dr. Levy has a presentation, and she's going to go slide by slide, and we're going to interject a little bit about this. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is pay attention, because you're going to have to listen very, very closely and clearly to start this. So let's have Dr. Levy bring in the presentation and share her wonderful screen, and we'll get right through the presentation.
Sure.
And as she's bringing this up, it'll take just a minute to integrate it, and I will bring it in and make it full screen, and actually, can
I can make it full screen if I believe I can.
Yeah. Yep, actually.
Just let me know if it's good and you can see it.
All right, have you shared your screen already?
I believe so. Yes, it says that I've shared my screen, but
all right, let's do that.
Yep, there we go.
Okay. All right.
Great. Are you ready to go?
Well, we're ready to go.
Awesome. Okay, so Voice It, voice tech accessible to everyone, regardless of ability. My name is Dr. Rachel Levy. I am the Customer Success Manager at Voice It and also a speech language pathologist. So Voice It comes in to fill a gap. We know that people who are nonverbal have wonderful technologies that they use, AAC technologies that really help them to communicate with loved ones, friends, and the outside world. But what happens to people who have severe, moderate, mild even speech impairments, who want to use their voice to communicate, and they're not understood by unfamiliar listeners? Well, Voice It's here to support them, to help them, to really empower them to use their own voice. So this is our current app. And so just like DJ had beautifully said, we're going to be presenting two technologies today. Our current app, which is accessible on the iOS App Store. That means that you can download it for free on any Apple device. And it serves two functions. One is communication with others. The other is smart home control. We have a proprietary integration with Alexa that allows you to use your voice to control anything that Alexa can control, essentially allowing you to use your voice to communicate with Alexa's servers. This is Orit. She's a wonderful, intelligent young woman with cerebral palsy who speaks 3 languages, is extremely outgoing, and she's going to say something to us here in English. So let's have a listen. DJ, were you able to hear that?
No.
Let's try to go back, because this is a very important part of our presentation. Okay. Bear with me. I'm just stopped sharing, and I'm going to try again. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So all you should have to do is open it straight from your desktop once you submit.
So just let me know when I shared it. So just let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. You can go ahead and.
Okay, I'm going to try again. Have you heard? Did you hear it?
I can hear it, but very low. It's like it's not.
Oh, I think it's because of my headphones. Do you mind if I?
Sure. I can't hear you at all now. Hold on, it's showing that you're muted. Let me see if I can unmute you here. Can you click on your microphone there, the little microphone, and see if you can unmute yourself?
Yes. Do you hear me now?
Yes, there we go.
Okay. And let's go back to the presentation. I'm going to click this. Let me know if you hear it.
Now again, start speaking freely.
Do you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So let's see what she said. To us unfamiliar listeners, it's pretty hard to understand her.
Now again.
Now I can. Start.
Speaking freely.
Speaking freely.
So that's what Voice It does for our users. It essentially translates their speech.
Now, so let's go. Now, I want to run this again because we had that little audio hiccup. Okay, listen to the clarity between what she first played. Okay, which was this. She's gonna when you hear
I'll play it again.
Mm-hmm.
Now again, start speaking freely.
Okay, you can hear that. You can understand it a little bit because I heard can start, but I couldn't quite. Now listen to the app actually translate for her.
Now again.
Now I can. Start.
Speaking freely.
Speaking freely.
So that right there is a breakthrough in a and I hate to use this word, but a very simplistic way of bringing speech to life for people that have trouble communicating and understanding what this is really about.
Exactly. The great thing about this app is that you can program it to output a much longer phrase than what you input. So, for example, if I go to a restaurant and I typically order a burger with cheese and pickles and ketchup, then I can program the app to say all of that. And all I need to say, if I want to use my voice to say it, all I need to program is burger. I can literally program burger, and it will output that whole order in one fell swoop.
Okay, so as we go to the next slide, we have a question here, more of a comment and a question at the same. Tony says, I'm a member of the Kansas City Ataxia group, and I would love to do a presentation to share this with them. How can I contact you? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that word, but ataxia.
Yes, ataxia.
Usually have speech that, and some sound drunk. So this would be a wonderful technology for them as well.
Yes, we have a couple of users. We actually have a comedian who is currently onboarding for our beta, which I'm gonna present to you. It's really exciting stuff. He also said to me, I'd love to order a pizza without the other guy on the end thinking that I'm drunk. So yes, we've got many users who have expressed that same sentiment.
Awesome.
Definitely. You can reach me at rachel.levy@voiceit.com. So it's RACHEL.LEVY at voiceit, VOICEITT.com. I'm looking forward to having any of you guys reach out with any questions.
Say that again, Miss Rachel. I'm going to put that in the comments.
Sure. It's Rachel, RACHEL .LEVY at voiceit, VOICEITT.com. I'm happy to do similar presentations for you or your organizations or your contacts, just to get the word out there about this really tremendous technology that's life-changing.
And that was ITT?
Correct.
Okay. Get that out there. All right, so that's in the comments, guys. Be sure to check that out.
Great. So I'm going to go on to the next slide.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our current iOS app in action. Just like I said before, it extends the user's speech. So you can just say one word and have it output a phrase or a sentence. Users must unlock individual phrases. So every phrase that you want to say needs to be unlocked and trained. And it's a really great tool for speech improvement. So let's have a look at Donald at the St. John's Community Services Center and how Donald uses it. Let's see.
And Donald. My name is Donald Miles.
I'm Donald's sister, Cheryl. I think when I heard about it, that's when I thought that I got excited because I know that we're going to speech. I think it's going to improve his speech, and he enjoys it. It's technology that he can enjoy while he's learning, right?
Yeah.
Donald has been using the Voiceit app on his iPad for about a month and a half now. Donald is learning how to unlock all of the different phrases that has been in his head probably for his entire life. He has so much to say. He knows what he likes, he knows what he wants.
And my favorite part from Donald, I know what his favorite food is. Washington.
Voiceit coming in creates a platform or a bridge, if you will. It stands in the gap. You know, it helps them to be able to, for the first time for most of them in their life, use their voice in first person. For the first time. There's something powerful about that.
Donald takes out.
So just right there, I mean, there's so much in this one individual slide. This presents a freedom for people that hasn't been there, and but it's more than a freedom. Imagine yourself with and look at us with the disabilities that we have and the struggles that we have. For an app to take a multitude of phrases. I want a cheeseburger, medium rare with pickles, cheese, onions, lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, ketchup, mayo. I want a double burger, and say cheeseburger or burger, and it's there. How amazing would a person being that has issues with communication to go and have this app and pull this app, press one button, boop, there it is, and the waitress goes, okay. And it's like they're able to have an independence that maybe they never thought possible. That's pretty freaking awesome, I do have to say.
I agree. It's empowering. It's empowering especially because these individuals are usually understood by their caregivers and loved ones. And they're often having to rely upon them to speak for them. And now these individuals can speak for themselves in the first person for themselves. It's so powerful.
That's the key to the independence right here. Charles, this is so awesome. The issue with me is I almost likely dim myself down with my speech. I have an IQ of 145, and with this, I don't need to do this anymore. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So here's you go back to it, and not to interrupt the presentation too much, but one tool does a multitude of things with just a program phrase that you use, the individual, with your voice, and then it translates it into the speech if the person cannot understand you. Because some people, the waitress can go, okay, you want a cheeseburger. Okay, what do you want on it? Right here. Bam. There it is. But it's so awesome. So, yeah, I love that.
So, Charles, stay tuned, because I think you're going to like the next product even better. Because this product it's a bit limited in that you need to train every single phrase that you want to use. So if you want to speak spontaneously with this app, it's not quite going to give you what you want, because every single phrase that you use needs to be pre-trained. But stay tuned, because we're going to talk about our next generation technology, which I think is going to be super exciting for all of you listeners out there. Let's just keep going through the presentation. So here's a story about Wendy and Michael. Beautiful couple. Both of them are wheelchair bound. Wendy has typical speech, and she said, Alexa, that's great. Let's install this in the house so that I could have more accessibility, so that I could essentially get around better by using my voice. I can control my TV, my lights, my lock. And it was really exciting for her to have this. However, Michael was not able to access any of those features because of his speech impairment until Voice It came along.
Hello, I'm Michael. Hello, I'm Wendy. And this is our life with Voice It. They developed this wonderful machine which you will see Alexa right at. Okay. You have no idea on how many doors you're going to be opening for so many people. Alexa, TV off. Like I said, you have no idea how much this means to him. No idea. We waited for this for so long that we thought that this would never happen. Okay. This is such a wonderful gift in so many ways.
Yep, hate that slide. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm good now. Oh,
I
that
know.
that one got me. The first time I watched that, I was like, nope, can't do that again.
Yeah, I know. It gets me every time. And I've watched it probably hundreds of times by now. It's so heartwarming.
And they both have cerebral palsy, right? I mean, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't want to assume anything. I'm not really sure about Wendy. I know that Michael definitely does have cerebral palsy. I'm not sure about Wendy.
There's a question within the app itself. Can this app translate one language to another?
No, we don't really do translations from languages. No, but on the note of languages, the app will work with any language, in any language, essentially. However, the user interface is in English. So if a person wants to use the app to speak whatever language they speak, they can use the app to communicate. And they can program it however they like, because it's very much programmed.
I just want to say, when a person when a person is able to do something for the first time, that's pretty mind-blowing. That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That was very touching. I shed some tears with that one. Yeah, Miss Siobhan, I know. I think it got everybody up here pretty much. So we'll go ahead to the next slide on that. But oh.
So this brings me to our next, basically what makes all of this possible. And that's voice data. What's voice data? Essentially, the way that standard voice recognition was developed, your standard Siri, Google, Alexa, the way that those technologies were developed was they took pools, millions of samples of standard speakers, standard speech, essentially, and they taught the algorithm, the artificial intelligence, to recognize this standard speech. However, there isn't a database for non-standard speech or people with speech impairments. And that's what we're trying to do. We're building a database of non-standard speakers. And what that allows us to do is to create voice recognition equity for all, to allow voice recognition technology to detect and understand individuals with speech impairments. So, yeah, DJ, you want to say something?
I'm just taking care of something here. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
So it's just, let me know every so often, because I can't see you, because I can only see my my presentation. So just let me know.
No problem.
Okay, so that brings us to our next generation technology, and what this voice database, this speech database allows us to do, and that's spontaneous, continuous speech recognition. Essentially, you want to say something, say it. You don't need to pre-program each individual phrase. Let's have a look at it. It's really exciting.
Hello, I'm Michael from Boise. I'm excited to update you. We're gonna take me. Boise has a new application for continuous speech recognition. This will enable you to communicate with others and detect using your unique speech. Please visit our website and let your voice be heard.
So just right there again, you look at the leaps and bounds of what technology is. It's not perfect, and
No, it's
I could actually understand Michael pretty well, except for a few words. And this is the only the second time, well, third time I've watched the presentation, but that was to make sure it would work. So it does give you exactly what it wants. Now, is there voice training here that they go through, and then it just adapts the more that you use it?
great question. So yes, in this case, for this version of our technology, we call it a web app. And the reason we call it a web app is because we're no longer tied to the iOS environment, if you will. You can access this technology on any device: Android, mobile, desktop, laptop. Any device that can open a web browser can use this technology to understand users' voice.
Okay.
Now, to address your question, DJ, training is done in one lump sum before using the tool. So what that means essentially is currently we're asking that users train 1,000 phrases in Ensemble, our voice, our speech data collection website. They would record 1,000 phrases, and we'll go through that later on, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But essentially, a minimum of 1,000 phrases is required to obtain the tool, and then once they get the tool, depending on how well it works for them, they might want to record more training to get the tool to be better at detecting their voice.
Excellent. All right, so we've got a couple of questions here.
Sure.
First thing is, and this goes back to translation. Remember, this doesn't translate, but I want to make sure that I ask this. This is a little different. If I speak in Spanish, will the response come out in English?
Very good question. So no, we currently only support English. So you need to speak in English so that it will write it in English.
Okay. Is there a fee for this app?
Very good question. So currently we're onboarding beta testers because, as you see, the technology is not 100% perfect. We're still working on making it the best it can be, and we need you to help us. And with that being said, we're offering the beta, this program essentially to all beta testers for free. We're offering it for free for at least 1 year from the point at which they get the tool, if not more, but at least 1 year.
Okay. Let me say one thing. Do you guys understand what she just said? You think about Dragon Naturally Speaking, all right? One of them bad boys to put on one computer is like a lot. It's like 200 to 300, possibly 400, depending on the update of what the Dragon is and how much. And this app gets better the more you use it, so the more you train it. So these guys that are on this show right now, that website that we put in earlier, and I'll have Dr. Levy say it again, go to this website, check it out, listen to it, find out. And this, I mean, the presentation, I believe, is available there too. Is it not for the...
If you go to the website, voiceit.com, you will see this video of Michael. He's the product specialist at VoiceIt. You'll be able to be directed to Ensemble for the beta, to join the beta. Essentially, once you start recording an Ensemble and you're deemed eligible, then you'll get the tool as soon as you hit 1,000 phrases.
This is an awesome question right here. Thank you, Tony. Dragon Naturally Speaking took up a lot of space. Does this store voice data on the computer?
Great question. I love that question. So essentially, no, it's a web app. That means you can open it on any device that opens a web browser.
Man.
And the voice data is stored within that browser, within our servers, essentially. So if you, let's say, broke your device, God forbid, right? Gosh, that should never happen. But
Oh.
if God forbid that ever happens, you can easily get another device, somebody else's phone, somebody else's computer, borrow a device, and log on to your unique web app using your unique email and password, and voila, you have your speech dictation tool right there.
Wow, that's so awesome. All right, let's keep going.
Awesome. Okay, so what's really cool about this web app is we have integrations with Microsoft Teams and Zoom. So essentially, you can conduct Microsoft Teams meetings and have live transcriptions of your speech. Let's have a look.
Hi, Michael. Yeah, we can see it, Michael. It's really cool. Great. Does it work well for you? It is able to dictate, understand you even after the happy hour? That's all.
Sorry. That was funny.
Yeah. So it's really great because those of individuals who are in the workforce who are already conducting Microsoft Teams meetings and needing it for work, it's such a great integration that they have this live transcriptions.
Well, there's one question that I have that hasn't come up yet, and I want to make sure to get it out there before, because our hour's going fast. I noticed that it reads out the text that he speaks or he or she speaks. Will it voice read the text for people as well, so that they can hear
Mhm.
and see the text?
Yes, good question. Our web app has two functions. One is conversation. The other is dictation. Conversation is meant to be used when you have a conversation partner. So when you click to talk and you say something, as soon as it stops listening, it will voice what you've said, just like we heard in the beginning with Orit. So yes, there is definitely a voice output, and there's going to be choices of different voices to suit your fancy.
Okay, I know somebody's going to ask, do we have a Morgan Freeman voice on this thing? Because that's what they're going to want to know.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. As of now, no, not really. We're really focused. Our energies are focused on getting really good recognition. So we're not so focused on the voice output at the moment. We're really just focusing on getting really good recognition. That's our main goal, so that people can feel like they're communicating their message.
I would love to be a voice for it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it would be awesome.
From a cybersecurity standpoint, how do you protect against script interjection or SQL interjections while using the web app on a network?
That's a really good question. I don't even know how to answer that because that's a whole lot of jargon. However, what I do know is that we are HIPAA compliant, COPA compliant, security compliant, all the national and international security measures that can be had, we have it. And if you're interested in finding out more, you can check out our website. It's all in our what is it called? Agreement, user agreement. So everything's in there. And
she had to search for that phrase. I saw it. She was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
where is it?"
My word finding difficulty. We all experience that.
That I do. Since this came up, my my girlfriend was saying, do the British accent. If a person had, because I do voices as well. If
Yeah.
a person has an accent, say, just for English, if they're talking like this, can it still, pick up the dialect of the person and be able to, go from there and translate it properly to where it's heard and done at the same time?
I'm so glad you asked, DJ.
Oh, look, she does it too.
Of course. Would you like some tea? Anyway. Yes. Yes, we do different dialects, of course. Accents and dialects, yes.
Awesome.
But it must be English. It must be English. That's
very well. Next slide.
Must be English. Okay. So let's have a look at our Zoom integration.
The work of this year is really good at the moment. I was testing it yesterday.
That's great. Was it better than the previous test?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I wanted to ask you if you can help me with this document I shared with you. Did you see the comments?
Yeah, I had a look at it and I still need to review it further.
Okay. So should we schedule another follow-up meeting for when do you think we should meet?
Monday morning would be good.
Okay, works for me. So you are going to send an invite?
I will send you an invite.
Okay, great.
Well, that and just to kind of go there, that kind of answers the question right there. Because if you listen, Michael has just a little bit of an accent, so it does pick up.
Right, that you picked it up. Michael's from the UK.
This is so awesome. Wow, that's so. Even there, when he's speaking, will it automatically go to dictation for her if she wanted to read it and hear it in a voice as well? Does that make sense what I'm asking you?
Oh, well, not for the Zoom integration. The Zoom integration will not have voice output, and neither will the Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
It's only for interpersonal communication.
Is that something maybe they can fix in the future and go,
Well, so it's a good question, actually. We've had meetings with individuals from the Microsoft disabilities one of the directors of the Microsoft, he works for Microsoft. He's the head of disability department there. He's actually blind, and he conducted a meeting with Michael where he had his technology that reads subtitles. Basically, it reads the subtitles to him, and Michael had Voice It going, of course, on the meeting, and Voice It did the transcriptions, the live transcriptions, and then on the other end, the individual who was blind had the technology read the subtitles to him, and they were able to communicate that way, which is pretty awesome.
Do you guys understand how amazing that is? So we have two communication apps communicating to two different people what's best for them differently. That is so amazing.
the
Yep.
recognition.
Oh, sorry. So let's talk about who an ideal web app user is. We're asking that the users who want to use our new web app, our newest technology, that their language be intact, that they say what they intend to, and that their pronunciation is consistent, but they still have difficulty being understood by others or smart home systems. So even if your speech is such that it's good enough for most people to understand you, but maybe you have difficulty being understood by Alexa, Google, or Siri, and you're not getting really good recognition, maybe you're only getting 50% recognition, then our app is for you. On the severity side of things, for those, we're asking that those who would like to participate have dysarthria, we call it dysarthria, motor speech impairment, that the individual can still be understood by familiar listeners, by loved ones, caregivers, but have difficulty being understood by strangers. And most importantly, that they're socially motivated and interested in using technology for communication. Currently, the web app requires an internet connection to function. And we are also onboarding users who are 13 and up. However, which is really exciting, within the next few weeks, we're going to be opening up the web app beta to children under the age of 13. And that's pretty life-altering for many, many kids.
Okay, now I did not know that one. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
yet.
it's a new development, very
So
new.
So right on this show, we got a new development here.
That's
Now,
right.
I want to say this real quick, guys. This show is going to extend a little bit because I want her to get through this presentation. So we've got a couple of questions, and I want to get those out there. All right, so the question is, I like this because I have dyslexia. It's hard sometimes to read, especially when I am tired. It can read it to me. This is something I would definitely download.
Okay, that's a good question. It does not read to you. It will write what you say. So if you have dyslexia and writing is difficult for you because it's hard for you to spell, then this app is good for you because it will write for you. It will write your speech to text. With regard to reading, we don't do reading. There are many wonderful apps, and if you want to reach out to me, I can point you in the right direction for apps that do reading from text that's on the screen that do read aloud. There are many wonderful apps for that. We currently only do speech to text. So I hope that answers your question.
All right, we're not going to be able to extend too much, so if we can kind of push it a little bit and see, because I know we got 29 slides to get through, I think.
No, we don't have any. No, we don't have 29 slides.
Oh, I thought it was.
No, we don't. We have one more slide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that's the appendix. That's the appendix.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. So I just want to show you this last video, getting started with Ensemble, because you're going to be getting on to, hopefully going on the website, voiceit.com, and it'll take you to Ensemble to get started with training. And this is the training. So this is the tutorial for the training. So let me just share this video with you. Getting started with Ensemble. First, click Start Recording. To create an account, input your email and password, or click Continue with Google. Next, you will be asked to build your profile. Type in your full name, age range, gender, and choose the condition that impacts your speech. Be sure to check the box to agree to the terms and conditions. Then click Save. Now you're ready to record. To record your first phrase, read the phrase written on the screen. You can click the Listen button if you have trouble reading. When you are ready to record, click the Record button and say the phrase. When you're done, click the Record button again. Keep recording. Once you have completed 5 recordings, you will have an opportunity to review them. Click the Play button to hear the pre-recorded phrases. Ensure only one user's voice is present with little to no background noise. Click the redo button to re-record the phrase. Once you have submitted 5 recordings, click continue recording to keep going. Once you have submitted 10 recordings, the Voice It team will listen and make sure you qualify. We will send you an email notification once the decision has been made. Thanks for participating in Ensemble. Your voice matters. Your voice makes an impact. And with Voice It, your voice can be heard. Okay, so that concludes my presentation today.
All right, I'm gonna. There we go. This has been so awesome. We're definitely gonna have you back for a round 2 here because there's so many. Gosh, man, oh man, oh man. This is a great question. I want to get this out here. If a person talks spontaneously, can Voice It understand it? Can Voice It understand it without voice and words being pre-programmed?
Great question, Denise. So we essentially, our app learns the individual's pattern of speech. In order for us to do that, you need to train the app to understand you. Essentially, Voice It is like a familiar listener. What makes a familiar listener able to understand individuals? It's because they've been exposed to that speech for so long. They've learned the patterns and can now understand that individual. Essentially, Voice It becomes the familiar listener. And how does Voice It become the familiar listener? Through training. So we do require a minimum of 1,000 phrases in Ensemble for us to push this web app out to you. And if you want to get it to be better at recognizing your voice, then further training might be required.
All right, so I'm gonna throw this out there because I'm all in on this thing, and I'll get with you, once we go off the air. But for people that are verbal, that want to help, that want to try to get in on the ground floor with this, that want to submit ideas. Oh, another question. Let's see. How long does the app does this app take to be able to understand you? Oh, that's good. Good question, Kim.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, Kimberly. So however long it takes you to record 1,000 phrases, basically. Everybody takes their own pace, has their own kind of stamina for speaking. And so I'm not going to put a timestamp on that. It just really depends on the individual. There's no expiration date or anything. We're going to be onboarding the first 1,000 beta testers. And once we hit 1,000 beta testers, then I can't guarantee that we're going to be offering it for free anymore after that. So first 1,000 beta testers get it for free. So whoever reaches 1,000 phrases first, before we get 1,000 people on, then those are the people that get Voice It.
But they must have a problem or a condition with their speech.
Correct.
So let's understand that.
Yes.
So for those of us who don't have problems with speech, how can we get in on the ground floor? What can we do to help? How can we get Voice It out there aside from sharing this show and really get in there? Because this needs to be everywhere.
I love that, DJ. I love that. And really, it should be everybody's mission to get this word out there, to get individuals this technology into their hands, because for people who need it, it can be life altering.
Yes.
So DJ, I applaud you for having me on the show to get the word out there. And for anyone who's listening, to just spread the word, post on your social media, paste our Voice It, voiceit.com, put it on your social media, talk it up, join the beta and then talk it up. It's just get the word out there. We want as many people to be a part of it as possible.
I have said this 1,000 times. Share this show. Every group that you're in. Even if they tell you don't share it. Because if somebody finds it, if you help one person and that one person shares it and that one person shares it, this can blow up and it can make a dream come true. I want to thank Dr. Levy for being on the show today. I want to thank all of our commenters, all of our fans. Guys, you make this show possible. I honestly I want to have her back before spring because I think this is gonna just blow up and be really big. Heck, I want to be on the team under designing the thing. I want to get in there because there's so much potential, especially with what it can do now. And you look, 5-6 years down the road, you're going, yeah, I was there for the product launch when this happened here. Look at what it does now. You're talking about driving cars. You're talking about voice activated cars that have, turn on my CD player, turn to the left. It could be something later on in years to where Voice It could be programmed into a car and the car drives itself and it says, take me to New York. And what's the address? Boom, 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 boom. And you go, because of Voice It, you go where you want to go for somebody that's never been able to drive before. So I know that seems like it's a long ways away, but look at the potential of what this has to do. And you have to see the vision, not like this, but like this. You have to dream big. And if it doesn't scare you, it's not worth dreaming about. So, Dr. Levy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any final thoughts at all before we go? I just kind of want to
want to reach out to you guys and let you know, please reach out to me, rachel.levy@voiceit.com. If you have individual questions, I did see Tony, I saw your question, but I think it's more an individual question about medication. Please email me with your individual questions, and I'm happy to answer them and get you on board with Ensemble and Voice It.
Okay. Dr. Levy, when we get off the air, would you go to Facebook and put your information in the comments so that all of our viewers, I put it in there one time, but it only goes to my other social media pages because it won't post on my Facebook page. Would you mind actually going in there and putting your information?
With pleasure.
All right. Well, guys, I got to tell you, this was awesome. And thank you so much for making episode 114 so great. That's all I've got for today. I promise you we're going to have her back. I promise. Dr. Levy, stay with me just a minute. Okay. Guys, thank you so much for being on the show today. And as I always say, if you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. This is D to the J with a roll away saying we'll see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern for another episode 115 of My CP Does Not Define Me. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.